From November until July, I sent over 1,000 DMs and I literally converted zero of them. I wish I knew these 28 lessons before I started cold outreaching, because now I get replies for every 5 DMs I send. For more personal lessons, my Discord is on the description. Lesson number 1. My profile looked empty and hot, just like a desert. But I started posting work, engaging with other profiles, and optimizing my bio. And that literally started making me look more reliable. Your page is like your portfolio. If it doesn't look professional, it doesn't matter what you say on your DM. They will ignore you. Lesson 2. I used to pitch what I thought was valuable and not what they actually cared about or needed at that moment. Once I started knowing what their ambitions were, what they needed, and what their goals were, my responses started changing to more positive ones and instantly got more replies. Make it about them. Value is defined by the client, not yourself. Lesson 3. Less messages and more impact. I used to spam a dozen messages every day, like about it was like around 100 DMs a day, but that got me nowhere very fast. I started sending 5 to 10 personalized DMs and messages, and literally my response rates went through the roof. Quality is better than quantity. Lesson 4. I used to treat a no like a dead end, like this guy won't be of value for me. But one time, a client actually referred me to another client, and that led on to him actually purchasing a service of mine. I think it was just a logo design or something small. A client that said no referred me to a client that was actually looking for my services at that time. A no isn't a dead end, it's still a door. You can open it and still find people that can actually benefit you the way you want to be benefited. Number 5. People visited my page and didn't have an idea of what I did or how I could benefit them. I started adding clear callouts on my bio, started posting work on my other social media and stuff like that. And now they can have an idea of what I do just by going onto my page. Don't assume that they'll know what you do. You do, but they might not. Start putting your offer on every front and center place that you feel like they'll see. Number 6. One of my students had a problem. I'll show you some screenshots and try to figure out what the problem is before I actually say it. What I suggested to them was actually to stop giving them fluff and jump onto the main point and actually tease that you did something for them, so you can spark their interest and make them curious to know what you have for them. That will prompt them to actually be more interested in what you have to send them, and overall opening a door for conversation. Hook them from the first message. Lesson 7. Expect dead ends. I thought every cold DM should turn into a client, but that's just not true. I realized most won't reply, and that's perfectly normal. From like 10 DMs that you send, there are like 3 people that can reply. And from those 3 to 4 people, expect to like 3 of them not to be of interest and 1 to genuinely just conversate with you, but that doesn't literally mean that you're going to convert them. Lesson 8. I spent hours making polished and full of fancy edits and cool cold pitches. And as you might expect, that literally got me nowhere. My raw voice note and my raw version of myself just going over the things that I find crucial for the person I'm actually cold pitching to actually got me more replies and actually got people more interested and let them watch the whole video to the end, because actually adding sound effects and stuff like that to cold pitches might be cool depending on the angle you're pushing, but for people that just want to learn about stuff they can improve and stuff along those lines, it doesn't really make a difference if you add whooshes or if you add booms. For me, clarity beats fanciness, like literally every time. Lesson 9. To every client, I tried offering everything I knew at the same time, but I quickly found out that some niches value a whole lot more specific skills and pay a whole lot more for them than others. The same relationship as like streamers and clippers. Streamers need somewhat clippers to actually spread their VODs and make it easily manageable for people that are more used to like shorter form content. Double down on skills that are high demand on specific niches. Lesson 10. Once I literally started learning and paying attention on this, I started seeing it literally everywhere. On commercials, on conversations, in social settings, you name it. I started noticing hooks. I'm not the best at doing them, but I literally, since I started learning about them, I started noticing them everywhere. I suggest you start polishing your hook assessment as well. Hooks are the backbone of a lot of stuff you do on a daily basis. The more you learn about it, the more you learn to see it and spot it when they're being used. Lesson 11. Forget expensive gear. I delayed starting cold pitching because I literally thought that I needed the best equipment out there. A camera, a cool phone, a mic, like the whole $1,000 setup. But believe me, I closed clients even the times where I was just using my cracked phone. Like I talk about that in this video. And the faster you start with what you have, the sooner you'll find out that skill is better than gear. Lesson 12. I was stuck sending constant DMs because I was stuck in a phase of like over analyzing stuff, over analyzing the messages, over analyzing the clients, overanalyzing everything actually. Sending more DMs helped me a whole lot faster than planning beforehand. Also killed my fear of actually trying. Lesson 13. I treated every prospect the same, thinking that they want a logo design, and if they didn't want the logo design, I literally thought that I couldn't help them in any way. When some of them were actually looking for brand identities, they were looking just to make like a shirt for a uniform, stuff along those lines that I could do as a graphic designer, or it was within my skill range, but I just didn't ask them the right way for them to actually be interested in what I had to do. Reading their tone, assessing what they actually want, and being able to know that before actually contacting them is a huge benefit when you actually know how you can help them or what they're actually in need of. It will help you in terms of converting them to paying customers, and will make you easier to actually find more future clients in the long term. Lesson 14. I thought that CEOs or company owners were like big fish and I was like a small goldfish in the same pond. I thought that I wouldn't be able to reach them the hardest I tried. But then a certain day, like a CEO actually responded back to me. And it was like I was having a fever dream. I didn't believe it. I didn't end up closing that deal, but it opened a door of possibility. It started making me look at CEOs and company owners as just human beings as well that actually are active on social media and that are also looking for people to hire. It's not always that I DM them, but for every like 50, 40 messages, I try to include some CEOs because odds are the more CEOs you contact, the more odds of them actually getting back to you and some of them being interested in your services. Lesson 15. I used to message dead accounts and inactive pages without knowing and literally would sit there anxious to see the responses because I would end up DMing like 30 people and the inactive and dead pages would make up like 20 of them. So then I literally started looking for small cues like when was the last time they posted or how frequently they post on that social media that I'm actually DMing them on. If it's Twitter, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, I literally started seeing how often they're online. And it also made me look at DMing differently because most pages, if you look clearly on them, you'll see that people, the last post they did was like months ago or like years ago. And that's a big cue to see that like they're not actually active there. And if you DM there, you're not likely to get a reply anyway. Don't waste your shots sending DMs to them. Like look for people that are more active. Lesson 16. I used to preach that like 100 DMs was the safe number that you could start DMing every day and you would eventually start getting replies. Although that's true, it was really hard to maintain myself. So now I don't preach that anymore because I don't believe in it anymore, actually. Over time, my confidence and my networking skills and my outreaching skills grew. And I literally started lowering the amount of people I DM, like to such an extent that I don't DM more than like 30 people every week. 30 is like a lot, like 15 people every week, and still be getting like 5 to 6, 10 responses. And it literally proved everything wrong. Like it's not totally a numbers game, although it is. You don't need to send in quantities to actually get responses. You just need to focus on the quality of what you're sending. Lesson 17. Some people just won't pay. Don't chase them. I tried to convince broke prospects, and that led me nowhere. Not because they didn't have money, but they didn't have money to spend with me in the services I wanted to provide them. Because I'm certain that if I charge you a certain amount, I will guaranteedly give you back your money and even double it to triple it, in a long term. So when I say broke prospects, there are people that are not immediately ready to actually spend that money to work with me. And I usually run away from them because you will overall just be wasting time if you spend some time trying to convince them to actually pay you. And most of the times they won't change their mind. Lesson 18. I exaggerated in selling skills that I didn't actually have. And that led me to like a weird place because although I was saying that I know how to do websites and I know how to manage them, I didn't have the backbone to it all. I had a few customers coming in and wanting websites, and I did actually serve them. I did actually give them the website, the web hosting, and all of that. But I wasn't able to maintain it because I usually got to a point where I started having to send the work to ChatGPT or sending the work to friends to actually do it. And I would paying like small money, like 10, 20, 30, $50. And me being paid like a whole lot less than the company or the business standard for these services that they provide or I was providing at the time. I did actually get people to pay me, but at what cost? I didn't do enough research on it and I overall just got overworked and stopped doing it anyways. Now I just focus on what I know I can do, like video editing, graphic designing, stuff like that, that I can mentalize the amount of work that I'm going to go through and charge equivalent to that. Lesson 19. I used to end DMs without any clear direction. The conversation just came to an abrupt stop and neither me nor the client knew what to do next. We just like said bye and either one went their way. Then I started asking small things like can I send you like more examples in the future or stuff like that, and that left the open space where I could in the future come back and actually start interacting with them in a sense of being able to come back to them without being awkward and them actually waiting for me to get back to them, stuff like that. And that is a healthy way to maintain conversations without you looking overly desperate. Lesson 20. I acted like a robot. I used to respond to everything like literally and not having sense of humor, not cracking jokes, stuff along those lines. Do you know why like the wrist bot is successful as it is? Because it actually is fun. It can actually entertain you and actually keep your emotions high, like cracking jokes here and there and having a personality and being useful when you want it to be useful. Learn from that. Be freaking loose because people buy from people, not bots. I don't think that will age well. Lesson 21. I thought in-person meetings and in-person sessions were like mandatory if you wanted to convert clients, especially when I was outreaching locally. But believe me, I closed clients that I have never met and from places that I've never went to, just with my online presence. And yeah, don't worry, it really happens. Take my word for it. Lesson 22. I thought that I had to be like fully skilled and had to know like literally everything when I was trying to get clients to work with me. Outreach taught me client management, taught me client pitching, and taught me how to close clients. But most of that I didn't even know before I started cold outreaching. The other thing is when I was cold outreaching, I was outreaching for design and I was outreaching for video editing and stuff like that. But I picked up these other skills and now I combine them all. Now I'm able to market myself and actually am picking up skills as I go, and skills become more valuable the more time you keep on practicing on them. They compound along your journey. Lesson 23. Depending on WhatsApp or depending on email or Instagram to send work is the worst way to put it because Instagram at that time wouldn't actually permit you to send stuff like PDFs or send stuff like I don't think you can send PDFs even now, but if you couldn't send like too big of files and stuff like that, and it really limited my options to sending like source files and stuff like that. But now I work with Google Drive and Dropbox and stuff that it's easy manageable to share with clients. And but if you're trying to send like .ai or .psd or anything else, you can't actually send them through like Instagram or stuff like that. So using those will help you a ton. Make sharing files with your clients effortless. It will boost your credibility as well. Lesson 24. Don't fear phone calls or like where your client prefers to resonate with. I used to avoid calls because of my accent. I don't know if I have a heavy accent, but I have a perceptible accent. If you can listen and you can understand what I'm saying, yeah, I think my accent is at least digestible. But people with heavy accents, people that are actually trying to avoid this by any terms. Hopping on calls makes you closer to your clients. And in my case, it actually makes me close clients faster and more effortlessly because I won't lie, I can lie and cap and actually convert clients from cold to hot more often in cold calls, or not cold calls but in calls in general or in voice notes, than actually texting them, because texting and reading is actually boring and you can feed in more words without actually sounding boring in cold calls than in texts or stuff like that. Lesson 25. I really thought people weren't seeing my DMs when I sent them, because a ton of DMs that I sent, you're telling me that like not even one person saw it. I tried messaging my alternate accounts and I found something that was shocking for me. I found out that I myself was on the hidden requests. And that was so scary for me because I didn't know how to treat it. Sometimes it's just that, and it's not you. Lesson 26. Grammar matters. My sloppy misspelled texts dropped my credibility points by a ton, and people usually didn't respond to me for that as well. Clean your grammar, bro. It will boost your credibility and make you more credible in general. 27. I created multiple accounts so I could reach that threshold of sending 100 DMs in all of those accounts. That would be like 300, 400 DMs that I would send. And although it was tiring, the responses as well were like bad, like really bad, because instead of getting replies, I literally just had clients just changing their handles from their name to actually deleted user, meaning that they blocked. One thing is good, meaning that they saw the message. The other thing that's bad is that they blocked me and it never led me nowhere. Focus on one page. That one page can lead you to clients and lead you to actually making money. You don't need to have 70 other pages to spread your line too thin. Lesson 28. In the beginning, I quit a lot of times, and I quit too soon to my taste. I think I quit more than 3 times before actually sending more than 500 DMs. And I for a fact thought that this didn't work at all. Cold outreach was dead and stuff like that. But I stayed consistent and I gave it my all. The fourth time that I restarted cold outreaching, I decided to just keep on doing it, but started deciding to do different methods and stuck with them a long way, just to see how they would react and how it would reflect on them. And believe it or not, longevity. Google help me.
Longevity.
Fail, adapt, and repeat. That's the formula I'm following, and it does well for me, not only on this area of my life, but in every other thing. To make your learning easier, I attached this playlist that has all I know about cold outreach in the end.